Hello, Internet. This is Sophia, the Red Angel, doing my best on this channel to produce content that is worth your time to watch and listen to. And today I want to announce an upcoming series that I am very excited about, which I hope that you will find to be very much worth your time to watch and listen to, and maybe even subscribe and share. Speaking of subscribing and sharing, at the end of this video, I will give you more information about the various ways that you can subscribe, as well as how you can stay in touch by joining my Discord server. But that is for the end of this video. Back to talking about the new series that I am here to tell you about. This series will be Fallacy Explained. In each episode, I will take a fallacy of reasoning, i.e., logical fallacy, and explain it in depth. If you are already a regular on my channel, then there is a good chance that you are already familiar with a segment on many of my videos called Fallacy Exposed. That is a segment that I invoke whenever I catch someone committing a known logical fallacy in an argument that I am responding to. However, my installments of Fallacy Exposed are generally not full episodes, but installments within episodes, and are primarily there as part of my larger analysis of whatever argument I am responding to, and they are focused on the role that the fallacy plays in that particular argument. In Fallacy Explained, however, each installment is an episode in itself and is not meant for analyzing any specific argument, but rather to cover in depth a particular logical fallacy. But what is a logical fallacy? Well, Wikipedia defines a fallacy as, quote, the use of invalid or otherwise faulty reasoning or wrong moves in the construction of an argument, unquote. Rational Wiki defines a logical fallacy as, quote, an error in the logic of an argument that prevents it from being logically valid or logically sound, but does not prevent it from swaying people's minds, unquote. And that is the dangerous thing about fallacies, really. They do not prove anything, but they trick people, even the best of us, into thinking that they do. And the best defense against them is to know how to spot them and see right through them. The goal of this series will be to help you be a little bit more prepared to do exactly that. In each episode, I will not only tell you the basics of what the fallacy basically is. I will not only give examples of the fallacies that I explain, but I will also try to teach other things that are not usually given as much attention as I believe they ought to be. Things such as how to, as reliably as possible, distinguish an actual instance of the fallacy apart from a false alarm of that fallacy. Things such as how to tell the difference between different fallacies that are often confused with one another. These skills are often overlooked by those who prepare descriptions of fallacies, even though they are as crucial to the art of fallacy recognition as knowing what the documented fallacies themselves are. This is because when we are reviewing an argument, we run the risk of missing fallacies that are present, especially, though not necessarily exclusively, in arguments for positions that our bias favors. We also run the risks of registering false alarms for fallacies, especially, though again not necessarily exclusively, in arguments for positions that our bias opposes. And when we notice or have pointed out to us a possible fallacy and need to determine whether it is an actual fallacy or a false alarm, our various cognitive biases will tend to screw with us there as well. For this reason, we cannot afford to just abandon this assessment process to our System 1 thought process and call it a day. We need systems by which to filter out the influence of these biases in this process as much as possible. There may be no way to filter them out completely, but at least we need to filter them out as much as we can. That is why I do not consider a video explaining a fallacy to be complete without it addressing how to distinguish the fallacy from false alarms, as well as how to distinguish it from other fallacies that it can easily be confused with. One tool that I plan to use for this purpose is something that I have been working on for a while that I like to call algorithmic rationalism. I hope that this series will, among other things, inspire others to work on and improve that tool as well. In algorithmic rationalism, the idea is to develop clearly defined procedures, i.e., algorithms, to use in the analysis of arguments. Typically, one of these algorithms starts at the point that a possible fallacy is flagged, and depending on how very specific questions are answered, can take us either to the point that we confirm that that fallacy is indeed in play, or to the point that we find that it is a different fallacy in play, or, last but not least, to the point that we realize that no fallacy is in play at all, at least not where the fallacy was flagged at that instance. Is this process completely foolproof? Not by a long shot. For one thing, these algorithms have to be formulated. This process will never be infallible. Hopefully, with you all calling out mistakes that I make, these algorithms will get better, but still, they will not be infallible, ever. Also, since the questions asked in the algorithm are supposed to be rather specific questions, the opportunity for bias to infect the answer is reduced, but still not eliminated. Despite all these problems, though, use of algorithmic rationalism and possibly other systematic tools will still provide more reliable and trustworthy results to fallacy assessment than if we just abandon the whole thing to our System 1 thought process. I may not be able to give you an algorithm for assessing every fallacy that I describe. For some fallacies, I may have not yet been successful in formulating an algorithm for assessing it. However, if I can provide an algorithm, I will. And at any rate, I will do my best to prepare you to make as reliable an assessment of its presence or absence as possible. Some episodes of this series might, instead of being called Fallacy Exposed, be called Malconduct Exposed. And this is because just like it is important to be educated on logical fallacies, it is also important to be educated on discursive malconducts, such as the gish gallop, pigeon chess, and sea lioning. Unfortunately, on these topics, I am less likely to be able to give you something as systematic as an algorithm for assessing their presence or lack thereof. This is not because it would be any less useful to have something like an algorithm for the purpose of evaluating them, but because I am less likely to be able to give you an algorithm. Nonetheless, I intend still to give you whatever tools I can for detecting these as well. Now you might ask, will this series make you a better debater? My answer is no, it probably will not, but I hope that it will make you a better consumer of debates. I hope that it will leave you more equipped to see through any effort to give you an argument that is lacking in substance, even if, lo and behold, the argument happens to be for a position that you favor. It is not about what so often is euphemistically referred to as being right. Rather, it is about learning to recognize and edify yourself when you actually are right, and at the same time to learn to correct your views when you are not right, because these two things are the secret to being more often, even if not always, being right for realsies. Anyway, I hope that this introduction has piqued your interest in seeing episodes of this upcoming series. Please make sure that you have clicked the like button and leave your comment in the comments area below. Share this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell. Also, if you are interested in this channel's official Discord server, there is a link in this video's YouTube video description area pointing to a page on my blog that gives more information about it, including the invite link to the Discord server. My blog also provides other subscription options that you can use in addition to subscribing here, just so that you will not be too reliant on YouTube's algorithms to see my future videos. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still would appreciate you subscribing here on YouTube, because doing so would no doubt help my channel out. But if you want additional ways to make sure that you get my content, even if YouTube forgets to bring it to your attention, my blog has you covered. So check out those options too. And until next time, see ya!